Welcome to Lesson 6 in Unit 23, Celestial Clocks and Calendars. In this lesson, students will work to answer the question, how can the moon help us tell time? In this lesson, students analyze moon phase data over time and develop a model to explain the patterns. Students figure out that the revolution of the moon around the Earth and the Earth around the Sun cause observable patterns in moon phases. This also causes the moon to rise and set at different times throughout its cycle. Students make connections to the storyline by discovering how the moon phases have helped ancient Islamic and Chinese civilizations tell time. There are several opportunities for ELA and social studies cross-curricular connections throughout the lesson. You can look for specific standard connections in the Unit 23 Teacher Guide. This lesson will take approximately 3 days to complete. To begin the engage portion, you'll ask students what they're trying to learn about ancient civilizations and what they've learned about stars. You'll have students view several moon images. As well as the moon phases and rise and set times. You'll ask students questions about their observations of the moon. You'll then revisit the driving question board and add any new questions and highlight others connected to the learning goals of this lesson by calling attention to the questions about why the moon looks different throughout the month and how the moon helps us tell time. For the Explore portion, you'll set up the moon model investigation using the tutorial and the activity instructions in the teacher guide. There's also a video demonstration of the activity. Students will use the materials to model the moon phases. After students have completed the model, you'll have them use the Phases of the Moon student journal page to answer the discussion questions. In the Explain portion of the lesson, students will engage in a class discussion. You'll invite them to gather and analyze their observations from the activity. You'll use the provided questions to guide the discussion around how can the moon help us tell time. The goal of this class discussion is to explain what causes the moon phases and their connection to the lunar calendar. You can use the discussion to create the Lesson 6 summary chart. From the discussion, students should understand that the Chinese use the lunar calendar to understand people's personalities. They also use it to celebrate several important holidays. The Islamic religion is organized by the lunar calendar. Muslims use it to track important times throughout the year, such as Ramadan, a month of fasting. During the discussion, you'll read Next Time You See the Moon. Use the Read Aloud guide to inform your discussion with students. You'll also display a moon simulation. Students can observe how the phase changes as the moon revolves around the Earth. When the moon rises and sets also changes. You'll have students return to their small groups and review how they did the moon phases activity and revise questions as needed on their Phases of the Moon student journal page. For the Elaborate portion, you'll have students read the article Ancient Chinese and Islamic Lunar Calendars. As students read, you'll have them record their takeaways in their Culture Note Catcher student journal page. After reading the article, you'll ask students to turn and talk and discuss provided questions. You'll use their responses to complete the summary chart. For the Evaluate portion, you'll support student sense-making across the unit by orienting students back to the driving question board. Ask, did we answer any of the questions on our driving question board? If there are questions that have been answered, remove them from the driving question board and place them on the summary charts. Use this as an opportunity to answer the section driving question, how could we use patterns in the sky to tell time? Have students complete the Section 2 summative assessment. In this lesson, students will have analyzed data to reveal the pattern of the moon over a month's time, and explained why we observe phases of the moon. In Lesson 7, students figure out the relationship between gravity and the movement of objects. For the optional Extend, you can offer all students the opportunity to track the moon for 1 month. You'll tell them they need to pick a spot in front or back of their house where they can see the moon and draw the outline of the house or other landmarks nearby. Every evening at the same time, they should draw where they see the moon and what it looks like. They should draw the moon phases in the Student Moon Journal. For more information about this unit, visit myscipartners.com.